Kaufman's 5 level of evaluation. Now, this is one more model. So guys, understand this, that instructional design may, there are multiple, this is going to talk about multiple guidelines, right, which you can follow. Now, guidelines or processes or models which are created. Abhi dekho, wherever you are going to, work, so there would be a process which would be already set. So this is how this organization is going to follow. So you have to follow that, or either you can create your own, process. So now you have to do analysis, as Neha asked, that what are the mostly commonly used models which are there to evaluate the training program. See, either you have to create that process, or you need to follow one of these processes or one of these models, right? So depending on the place or depending on your workplace, this model would differ. So this is again a different model as in similar model. So to evaluate, so see, the idea is to understand or evaluate our training program, right? That is the idea. Now you can follow one of these models. You need to make sure that you remember the ADDIE, the cycle. Yeah. So ADDIE. So after evaluating, again, there is a need analysis, which we are doing, right? Analysis, need analysis, then design, develop, implement, and evaluating your program. So aapka program mein, what are the flaws? What are the pros and cons? I'm trying to evaluate that, right? So to evaluate, what are the process or what are the models which can be followed? So there are few set guidelines are there, or few set models are there. So let's understand now Kaufman's 5 levels of evaluation, or a 6 level of evaluation. Level 1 says satisfaction, to determine whether the training program was as per the required standard, right? So this is number 1. So, in my, in my program, which I have created, there also I have, created that feedback form. This was the same question. Do you think the training program was as per required standard? So your, learners are going to give you feedbacks on the same. Now, level 2 is that changes in knowledge. Now, what is changes in knowledge? To determine if the trainees could fetch the knowledge aimed. So what are the, learning objectives, right? So is the learning objective is being, achieved? We need to track that. How would we track that? By doing post-training analysis. So that is the that is one form, or that is one way I have chosen to do the evaluation. Now, level 3 says transfer and changes in practice. What does this mean? To check if the training covered has helped the participant to reach a level where a change is visible. So now this is going to talk about the impact which is being created. So pre-training mein 2.5 tha, post-training mein it was 3.2. So there is a change, right? So there is a visible change which has happened. There is an impact which has been created through this particular training. So this is again one way of understanding the or evaluating your program. Level 4 mein results or changes in organization. So to check whether the training imparted could bring about a change to the organization with effective inculcation, right? So to check whether the training imparted could bring about a change to the organization. Now, once the training is completed, now we need to understand how this team is performing. Okay, how this team is performing and how good they are or how effectively they are performing. So that is again, we can see post-training by doing post-training analysis. Now, level 5 says return on investment. So to check whether there is a return on those investment or not. See, every training program, when we are, delivering any training program, there is a cost included in that, correct? Let's understand for corporates what kind of cost it can it can include. Sumit, would you be able to answer this? How do you think, where do you think cost is involved in a corporate training program? So trainer, I have hired a trainer, so that means I'm paying, right, for the training. So there is a cost involved there. Number two is that, I have hired, let's say 10 people, let's say in sales, and they are undergoing 10 days ka training. That means they are doing nothing. They're doing nothing, as in their, contribution towards their job is zero. Because they're not hitting sales. They're just undergoing the training. They're sitting in a classroom, they're doing some activities, and they're getting engaged, and they're understanding or learning the, getting the knowledge about the product, and these things are happening. But वो 10 दिन का जो salary है, companies are providing that, correct? So there is again a cost involved. Now abhi, we need to understand ki, what is the return of investment. See, my investment, let's say for 10 people, to train that 10 people, a corporate can spend, let's say for example, till 1 lakh to 2 lakh rupees also, right? There are multiple organizations, they spend huge amounts on trainings. Now post trainings, companies or organizations are going to track that whether they are performing well or not. So मैंने इतना खर्चा जो किया है, so उसका what is the outcome of it, what is the result of it, what is the return on investment, because I'm investing this money, right? Training your employees, this is basically investment to upskill your employees. Now that is, that is done in an effective way or not, that is what we are going to see. So corporates, they are going to see this, that ये training होने के बाद if they're performing well or not. So मेरा जो investment मैंने किया, corporate ने जो investment किया, उसका return आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है. So that is what we need to see. अगर वो perform नहीं कर रहा है, that means there is no return on investment. That means there is a loss, right? But if I see that these guys are performing really well and they're getting us revenues, that means there is a return on investment which has happened. This is one more way through which we can evaluate our training program. Now, level 6 is that impacts on society. If the training could also bring about any change to the society with the practice of the knowledge in place. See, there are multiple things which we train, like for example, soft skills. Okay, that is one of the content which we deliver, right, to customer support team, to sales team, right? So these are people facing teams, right? So they connect with other people, outsider people, right? Strange people, strangers. But at the same time, they also meet their friends, they also meet their neighbors, they also meet their family, right? So ये soft skill जो है, whether they are being able to implement these soft skills in society also, society as in with your neighbors also, with your friends also, with your family also, with whoever you are meeting, you are being able to communicate. Let's say for example, communication skills or rapport building skills, or sales skills. So these are all soft skills which we train to these folks. So are they being able to implement that generally, or they're just implementing that for their own part of job? So this is again one more level of understanding or evaluating your program, that mera program se after this person has undergone this particular program, he or she is being able to implement these ideas in all over in general, not only in for the part of job, but also in general they are being able to deliver this or implement this. So this is going to be Kaufman's 5 level of evaluation. Now going to the next one, which says Anderson's model of learning evaluation. Now there are 3 stages of Anderson's model of learning evaluation. What are the stages? First stage says you need to check whether your training curriculum is at par the business needs. If not, you need to you need to make changes. Number 1 is that you need to understand through your stakeholders. For example, what I used to do, I'll give you a practical example. What I have done is that I have created the entire content. Now what I have done is that I have taken 2 levels of sign-offs, right, from my stakeholders, because my stakeholders are everything. Whatever they say that this is good, that means this is good, right? So मैंने क्या किया? I have taken level 1 of sign-off. in terms of the design and how the look and feel. Now the second sign off I've taken from in terms of the content which is there. And then level 3, I have also taken the sign off from the leads of that particular department, right? So I'm taking 3 levels of sign offs to make sure that the training curriculum is at par and is as per the business needs. And if it is not, I'm also again I'm going to edit that and make sure that the content is at par as per the business requirement. Now that is stage 1. Now stage 2 says measure the effectiveness of training imparted in the business front. Now we need to understand that how much post training analysis, again the same thing, right? Post training, I need to track their performance for at least a while, let's say for example a month's time, so that they can implement those learnings, and we need to see that how much they're scoring, and we need to combine or compare it with pre-training analysis and post-training analysis. So pre-training with 2.5, post-training with 3.2. That means there is a impact which has happened in business front, right? So that is the stage 2. Now stage 3 is if the return on investment for the training is not as expected, it is time for you to sit and reevaluate the necessary tweaks required. But let's say for example, agar training dene ke baad, if I see that people were scoring 2.5, post training I can see that in 1 month's time I can see that they are only scoring, let's say for example 2.7 maybe. That is their average score. So that means there is there is no impact. There is no such impact which has been created, right? So if that is the scenario, you need to again sit and make sure that you have to do some editings, right? So these are the 3 stages of evaluating your training program. So this is Anderson's model of learning evaluation. This is clear, guys? So this is what is the visual learning, like emphasis on the short-term benefits, emphasis on the long-term benefits. What are the benefits of Anderson's model of learning evaluation? So senior management trust in the learning contribution, learning function measures, and return on expectation measures. The organization requires learning value metrics, return on investment measures, and benchmark and capability measures. See, it's basically 2 types of levels I would talk about. Let's say, for example, I am the trainer and I have got the nominations for the customer support team, okay, of my team, of my organization. Now, over here, my manager or the learners managers, they are, hoping or they are expecting some result, right? What are this? What are they? What their managers want is that learning function measures, like they should understand how how the job role is going to work and what is the process, what is the product. So all these things, all these knowledge should be given to the to the learner. And in long term basis, return on expectation measures, right? So I am expecting that this person would be able to do good in in long run, and I can make sure that I can give more responsibilities to this particular person. And what your organization, in terms of organizational requirements, what are them? So return on investment. So the company owner or the founder is going to see that अच्छा मैं तो ट्रेनिंग में इतना खर्चा कर रहा हूँ, तो मेरा रेवेन्यू कितना आ रहा है. So return on investment, how much it is. So that is how the CEOs or the founders are going to look at this particular data. And in the long run, what is the benchmark and capability measures? That means this person has been trained, but what is the impact which this particular person has created in the company, right? After the training. So what is, if there are any benchmark which is being created by that particular learner, or how their performances are, right? So this is basically the requirement of the senior management and the founders and CEOs. Okay, in terms of organizational requirement view. Going to the next one, it says a Jack Phillip model. Now let's understand how this is being applied. First one says collect the pre-training data. As I already mentioned, what I have did, the pre-training data. Then collect the post-training data again. Now isolate the effects of a training program. Then convert the data to monetary gains and calculate the returns. So this is how I would be able to, measure the impact which has been created due to this particular training. So first of all, reaction, satisfaction, did the learner like the program? Then coming to the learning, did the learners learn the content? Implementation, did the learners deploy the learning on the job? Impact, did the learner impact the business results? And return on investment, did the learning investment pay off? मैंने pre-training data लिया. As I mentioned, what I did, I took the pre-training data. I saw 2.5 was the average score. I took post-training data, which says 3.2 was the post-training score. Now isolate the effects of a training program, then convert the data into monetary gains. That means I have now I am going to calculate the returns basically. How to calculate? These are the funnel which is being shown: satisfaction, then learning, implementation, impact, and then ROI. Right. So this is basically the Jack Phillip model, which is being explained. Now, summative and a formative. Now, what is this? How to conduct a formative assessment? Now, what does this formative assessment and summative assessment means? So, formative assessment means reviewing the training material with one or a group of trainees, right? The training material which has been created, I have shared with my team, and getting it reviewed by them. Yeah, that is number one. Using the material in a situation similar to that of an actual training program to see the impact of the material. So what I have done is that I have I have started a pilot batch. Pilot batch mein kya hua? I have shared these materials and have seen how much these content has created the impact. Okay. The third point is holding group discussions with the trainees to gain feedback. Holding group discussions, we are doing some group discussions, some brainstorming with the trainees to gain their feedback. See, end of this session, we can do this. See, we can take their feedback, we can do some brainstorming. Yeah, if even we can also sit with the tenured guys and understand and make them review. Ki aap dekh lo, yeah, how much do you think this is capable, right? How much do you think this particular content is good enough? So we can do a brainstorming with the tenured guys and even the trainees also, and get their feedbacks. Assessing the material with managers and supervisors who oversees training. So I can also consult with the supervisors or the managers of the trainees, right? Or who are the stakeholders basically. I am getting their reviews, I'm getting their feedbacks. जैसे मैंने क्या किया, I used to take sign-offs from my stakeholders, right? I used to take 3 levels of sign-offs. So that can be a formative assessment. Now coming to now some of the steps to conduct a summative evaluation are now testing trainees on how well they grasp the information provided. That can be number one, by doing some knowledge checkers, by doing some activities. I can test the trainees, how well they have grasped the information. Asking trainees for their opinion about the training program after it has been delivered, which I have done. So once the training program is completed, I have provided a feedback form in which they have given me the feedback of the training program. यहाँ पे this was not that good. यहाँ पे this could have been much more better. I think this many more things can be added, right? So that's how I can get the feedbacks. Measuring changes in production and quality of work that has been accomplished post training, right? Measuring changes in production and quality of work, as in pehle the pre-training and post-training data. Once I have seen that previously it was 2.5 and right now it is 3.2. That means there is an impact which has happened, right? I have accomplished, or this productivity has increased, right? Ratings has increased. So post-training, I would be able to do that analysis. Now, conducting surveys or interviews with each trainer to gain a better understanding of what they have learned. So post training, what again, what we can do is that we can sit one on one and discuss, face to face, that आपको कौन सा चीज अच्छा लगा, कौन सा चीज बुरा लगा. You can trainers would be able to ask directly in the classroom itself that what are the things which you have which you liked, what are the things you didn't like. So this is basically a summative evaluation, right? Now, what is formative versus summative assessment? ठीक है, formative assessment में क्या क्या हो सकता है is a part of instructional process. Now we can do some quizzes, we can do some observations, creating T-charts, Venn diagram, and other students learning evidence. It can be classroom or homework. It can be some activities which can be provided, resources which can be provided, writings and exit tickets. Help teacher modify future lessons planning based on learning needs, right? So these are basically formative assessment which can be done to evaluate your training program. Now, in summative assessment, used to determine at a particular point in time what students know and do not know. So one on one जैसे हम लोग बात करेंगे तब I would be able to figure out कि what are the things, what are the topics you do not know, what are the topics you understood, right? That's how also I would be able to evaluate the content. So which says that state assessments, district benchmarks, or interim assessments. Again, you can give knowledge checkers, right? You can give them activities, end of unit of chapter test. Every chapter, like in here in Henry Harvin, what we do is that once one module is completed, after that you undergo a test, right? And you get a score. So similarly, by checking that score, I would be able to understand ki acha isko 8 out of 10 mila. So that means this person has understood really good, right? And what are the areas to improve? We can also understand that also. So jo bhi galat hua, jo bhi answers are wrong, I would be able to figure out ki acha these are the topics which this person has not understood. So I need to rework on that particular topic itself. End of the term or semester exams, again in schools and colleges, this is what is being done. End of the year we give semester exams, or maybe in schools we give our examinations, right? Scores that are used for accountability, SAT or ACT type test. So it's basically MCQ type test which can be done, and both are ways of assessment, right? Questioning strategies needs to be addressed. Questioning strategies need to be addressed as in both the scenario. I need to make sure how to ask these questions, how to ask these feedbacks from the learners or from the stakeholders. I need to understand that. Both needs to be used to evaluate a student effectively. Both can be used for student feedback, again, yes. Assist in future lesson planning. So once I get these kind of feedbacks, I would be able to plan my next or future lessons, that what can be my future lessons and what should I teach, in how should I teach the next lessons, right? Accordingly, I would be able to understand. So that is about formative versus summative assessment.